Welcome back to the Manor. Julian McBain here, and we are back in Entropia universe. And for a change of pace, we're going to hunt dusters. Whoops. So, as I was looking to what I wanted to discuss today, I ran into a quote that used to be very popular at my former job. And I don't have who said it pulled up in front of me, so I apologize for that. Nope, can't remember who said it, so I'll probably throw it in the description. But it's, if you don't own your day, the day owns you. And I'll be honest, in my last job, that's something I struggled with. As often as not, the day would get away from me or would own me. And it wouldn't be doom scrolling or anything like that, but I'd get caught up in the minutia of what was or was not going on. And I did not have the opportunity. Well, there were many problems with opportunity, but because I was caught up in the minutia, I wasn't able to achieve what I set out to achieve. And this was more prevalent when I was a manager than when I was working in the wealth space again. So this was my first role in that job. And what it was is you have so many things that are required of you when you manage a bank branch. Literally, they said you are 50% manager, 70% business banker. And obviously those percentages don't add up. Or they do add up to 130%, but you can't really fit that in 100%. So especially when you are running a business unit that is that had a lot of struggles where you had to fix a lot of, operational controls, try to, figure out what processes have become normal that shouldn't be. And keep in mind, I'm not putting this on the team that was there. They had been without a manager for years. They had gone through COVID without leadership. So there were a lot of things that kind of went by the wayside because that's what a manager's job is to make sure that the operational controls remain in place and you don't lose sight of what you're supposed to be doing. But the fact of the matter was the day would often get away from me as I'm trying to help customers and coach my team and work leads. It was a lot. And so, and even the software they used was called Own Your Day. So, like, they really were pushed on owning your day and figuring it out and delegating properly, which in the beginning I struggled with because I didn't know the team very well. Delegation requires trust. And sometimes that trust has to be earned. Both your team has to earn it from you and you have to earn it from your team. And so I feel it's interesting that as I went back to the role I was in previously, I have a much easier time owning my day than I did at my previous job. And the results are obvious because which button is it that brings back my 5? No. I might have to do this with my inventory pulled up. Sorry guys, I know it's annoying. Just throw it here in the corner. And so what it comes down to is you have to basically have an agenda for your day and understand what you are setting out to accomplish, because it's never just about dialing for dollars. You also have to make sure that the things you already put in are working properly. You have to make sure that, so like as an example, I work in insurance again, and sometimes underwriting needs a photo. And so you need to take the time to go get the photo or get the customer to send you the photo depending on the type of photo they need. It might require you to do follow-ups as opposed to working new leads, which is something that again, this week got away from me. I ended up with a whole bunch of follow-ups that I'd forgotten to do. And so with half of my Friday was just doing a week's worth of follow-ups. But that's where planning things out really comes in. And sometimes you can't plan things. So like you're going to get a phone call you weren't expecting. Customer needs something. There's something wrong with their whatever product you sold them or service you sold them. They have a question. They have a concern. In my case, they might have a claim. But being able to largely control what your day is so important to being successful. And what it comes down to is maintaining a schedule and being jealous of the schedule. One of the things that we did at the bank is we had designated call blocks. And it was expected that we treat it like an appointment. And wouldn't you know, every time there's a call block, someone would call or someone would come in with an emergency, and you're the only one available. And for some things, you can be like, well, set a time for them to come in and we can fix this. And when you can, you do that. And other times, it's like, no, this is like an active fraud where there's someone like going out and spending their money right now. And obviously, you can't just put that off. So, and when that does happen, you can't disregard the fact that you carved out this time. You just have to reschedule it. And that's hard. It was hard for me. It's hard for a lot of people. And so, depending on, obviously I'm just the guy talking on the internet here, right? I work in one of the cushiest industries, so to speak, because I sit at a desk all day. And for some, I know that some people that watch this are probably factory workers or they work in retail. I know I've at least a couple of veterans on here. I don't know if some of them are still active. Some people don't control their schedule. It's given to them. But even if your schedule is given to you, and sometimes there's a benefit to that, because that means that as long as you're doing what you're supposed to, it's not going to end up being an issue. But making sure that at the end of the day, when something does come up, you're in control of how much time you spend on it. Hold times notwithstanding. Making sure that you have what you need to succeed, and don't let other people kind of try to take that control away from you insofar as you can. Again, there are some jobs where your boss says you're working on this project for the next 2 hours. I get it. There's not much you can do about that. And sometimes you can like push back on them, you know, respectfully. Be like, hey boss, I paired out this time in order to do this. I understand that you have a priority. Can I please finish what I'm working on before I work on that? And sometimes the answer is going to be no. But believe it or not, there are going to be several, there's going to be a plurality of times when the answer is yes. And that way you're not trying to manage 5 or 6 different things at a time. A good example of this was this past week for me, where I was trying to finish up something for one customer, and while a flood quote, which are far easier now than they were when I left. But I thought flood quotes used to take up to 4 hours. Now you can get them done in like 20 minutes. And it was difficult because I went to start working on it, and then I get a call. And I went to start working on it again, and then a live lead comes in. A live lead is when a lead company has someone on the phone looking for your product. And so finally, an hour later, I was able to work on it. Now, thankfully, because one of them was call, give information, call me back when you're done. While I worked on her thing, I was able to call tech support because I wasn't able to get into my flood quoting system. That was a big part of it. And I got that fixed while I was doing something else. So you can multitask sometimes effectively, especially if you know there's going to be a long hold time. And then when you do have long hold times, taking advantage of that to do other things that don't require you talk to people in order to get it off your plate. And one of the things that people underappreciate, especially bosses, but especially in our world of everything everywhere all at once. Taking breaks. Know when you need to take a break. Because that's how you prevent burnout. One thing I try to do every day, is somewhere between 3 and 3:30, I carve out 10 minutes for myself. Doors closed. I'm at my desk, whether I'm standing or sitting, because I have a standing desk, or a sit and stand desk, thanks to a coworker who no longer uses hers. And are they shooting me with an invisible gun? I don't think I ever noticed that before. The dusters don't actually carry guns. They just hold out their hand. They're shooting me with finger guns. It's like that. What game was it that Badger was playing where they actually were able to do finger guns? They're shooting at me with finger guns. Check this out, guys. Warface. This guy's literally shooting me with finger guns. Come on, Cyrene. I'm sure that it's a graphical issue. And honestly, at this point, is it worth them fixing it? Because at some point in the future, the UE5 changeover is going to happen, which I'm really looking forward to, but I also understand how difficult it is to do such a major change like that. But holy crap, never noticed that they shoot you with finger guns. That's hilarious. So yeah, that was really what I wanted to cover. Taking breaks. If you don't carve out that break time, find a way. A lot of jobs have scheduled breaks. Bless you. A lot of jobs have scheduled breaks. Some jobs don't. Like when I worked in retail, your break wasn't really scheduled, but you were expected to take one every 2 hours, which working for the big blue department store, I'm sure you can all guess who it was, you really need that 15-minute break because you're go, go, go the rest of the time. Working in an office, it's easier to forget because you might be sitting all day. Well, maybe you need to take 10 minutes and stretch your legs, especially as you get older. Being 41, I'd realize I'd sat too long, and I'd take 10 minutes and just walk back and forth until my joints stopped popping, which is one of the reasons I'm really thankful for the standing desk, because that happens way less now. But it is one of those things that can become an issue if you don't pay attention to yourself. And when you do that, burnout occurs. And you're not good to anyone if you're burnt out. Not the least of which is yourself. And so that's even taking breaks, especially taking breaks. And I'm not talking about, take a 10-minute break every hour. I'm talking like every couple of hours, take 5 minutes. And if you're sitting down, take 5 minutes and stretch. Unless you can't, due to one reason or another, if you're working a job on your feet, take 5 minutes and sit down. Or make sure you drink water. Y'all are drinking water, right? Water your flesh prison. So that's basically what I wanted to chat about today. I think I've made my point. This one was a little more impromptu. Again, owning your day. I'd like to make these videos on Saturday that will release tomorrow morning. But the lady and I both woke up under the weather this morning. Different reasons. Neither of us have a cold. In my case, as I'm sure a lot of my long-term subscribers know, I have severe allergies, which is why sometimes I'll mute the mic because I'm blowing my nose, especially during a live stream. And when it rains, especially, it aggravates those allergies because of all the stuff it kicks up. You'd think that falling water wouldn't kick up a lot of dust, but keep in mind every raindrop has a dust particle in it. That's how the raindrop forms. And so rain aggravates my allergies. But I still wanted to make sure I got the video out today. Or tomorrow, more accurately. And I wanted to make sure I carve out time to do them because this is one of the things I love to do. I absolutely love making these videos. I have missed it for a long time. It's good to be talking to you all again. And I love reading the comments, even the ones that are critical of me. I've had a couple haters out there. I'm okay with that. I remember once on one of my McBain Moments videos, I had someone who was like, I bet this guy doesn't make 6 figures. And it's like, well, that may be true, but I'm not broke either. The reality of working on commission is you can't predict what your income's going to be. So, yeah. So, yeah, please drop a comment. Anything you liked hearing, anything you disliked hearing, let me know. In the meantime, I am going to finish off this last duster and exfil back to the station back there. Come on. There we go. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. And as always, I really appreciate the support, and we'll see you in the next one.